Today we're going to try a new technique that honestly I haven't seen anywhere, and maybe I'm the first person to try this, but I think it's pretty cool. When you try to make a tiny planet using a panorama that's less than 360 degrees, there's issues when the planet turns in a circle and comes together. I'll give you an example. I'm turning this particular image into a tiny planet. And you'll see once the process is complete, there's a really big problem right here in the vertical surface where the sky is a different color on either side of the image, and so it just doesn't look good. And if you wanted to try to fix it, it would take a lot of work to fix it. So we're going to try something different. We open our image. The first thing I want to do is resize it to an even number. In this case, I want to make sure that the link here is checked so that when I change the width, the height changes. I'm going to change this to 5,000 pixels. You can really change to any even number you want. The second step is to go over to the layers dialog box. And if it's not there, you can go up to the window box and make sure layers is checked, and it'll show up on the side. So I'm going to right click on the background layer, and I'm going to select duplicate layer. It's going to say, do you want to name it background copy? You can just leave it the way it is and do OK. The next thing I want to do is click on the background layer, go up to Image, Canvas Size. I want to make the canvas twice as big. So what I'm going to do is I want to lock it in so that the image only grows to the right. So I'm going to click on this arrow, and you notice that everything points to the right. I'm going to change this number to 10,000. So we have an image canvas size that's twice as big. Now I'm going to go into background copy, and I'm going to go to Image, Transform, Flip Horizontal. All right. Next step, I am going to make sure the background copy is selected. I'm going to use the Move tool, which is the top one in the column here. I'm going to take that other image and move it all the way to the right. Now, if you see, the edges of the image here match, and the edges of the image on the other side will match. So once we do that, we want to do Layer, Flatten Image. All right, now we can go ahead with how we normally make a tiny planet. We'll go into Image, Image Size, make sure the link is unchecked. I'm going to make it 5,000 by 5,000. Next step, image rotation 180 degrees. The next step, filter, distort, polar coordinates. Make sure that rectangular to polar is checked and do OK. Now I have found with this particular kind of image, it's pretty cool to crop it close. So I'm going to bring this down here, 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 and there. Double click on the image to set the crop, and then go to View, Fit on Screen. That is really cool. And basically what it is it's a reflection of one image to the other side. So I kind of call this the reflective planet. Our first reflective planet image was made with a 21 image, 180 degree panorama. This is a 9 image, wide angle panorama. We are going to turn this into a reflective planet. Our first step Go to Image, Image Size. Make sure that the link is checked so when we change the width, the height changes, and we're going to make it 5,000 pixels. And then do OK. Our next step is to go to our background layer, right-click on it, and do Duplicate Layer. Accept the default name or change it if you'd like and do OK. Next, we want to select our background layer again and go to Image, Canvas Size. And we want to double the size of the canvas, so we're going to click on this left arrow so that everything grows to the right. And we're going to change the 5,000 to 10,000 and do OK. All right, now we want to flip our background image or copy image horizontally. Now when we do a tiny planet, typically we go into image rotation, and in this case where the flip horizontal selection is, it flips the entire canvas, which means it will flip both images. So instead, we want to go to Edit, Transform, Flip Horizontal, and that only flips the background copy. And with that background copy layer selected, you go and grab the Move tool, and you click on the image and drag it to the right, and you can see you can go up or down. You want to make sure you keep it centered vertically and slide it all the way over. Once we've done that, we want to merge everything onto one layer. So we're going to do Layer, Flatten Image. And now everything is on one layer. From here, we're going to start our normal tiny planet routine, and we will go to Image, Image Size, uncheck the link so that when we change the width, the height doesn't change. We're going to make the width 5,000 pixels, the height 5,000 pixels, and do OK. Our next step would be to do image rotation 180 degrees. From there, we select Filter, Distort, Polar Coordinates. Make sure that rectangular to polar is checked and do OK. And here we have our reflective planet. Now you can either keep it the way it is if you like it the way it is, or you can make changes to it. A couple of changes you might make, and I'm first going to do View, Fit on Screen. You could crop it so that there's more emphasis on the center of the image. So we're going to click on the Crop tool. Make sure width by height by resolution is checked. I'm going to drag in. I'm going to go in pretty tight here. And come down from the top to about here. Again, all these choices are your choices to make. I'm only giving some suggestions. Once you have the crop the way you think you like it, you double click inside the crop box to set the crop, and then we go to View, Fit on Screen. And you know, that's pretty neat like that, but there are other things you can do. What we're going to do is we're going to go back to the way the image was when we initially made it, and we're going to do View, Fit on Screen, and we're going to grab the Elliptical Marquee tool, which is up in the left hand panel here right below the Move tool. And before we click to start moving or setting our circle, we have to select the Shift key, because that will keep it a circle and not an ellipse. And as you drag it, you can see it's showing you the size of the circle. And since we know we made this circle or this image about 5,000 pixels wide, I'm going to go to around 4,500 pixels. and let go of the shift key and the mouse. To move this circle, you just click inside of it. When you drag this circle around, you will see that when you hit the vertical center, a little line appears there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just drag this down to some place that I feel comfortable with, and I think that would be it right there. We're still about 186 pixels above center, but that's okay. Let go of the mouse key, and what we're doing here is we're selecting the center of the circle, everything inside of it. But what we want to do is we want to select the outside. So we're going to go to Select, Inverse. Now what we're doing is we're selecting everything on the outside. Now if you want this not to be a very hard line, you can feather this by going here and increasing the size of the feather. And let's try 30 pixels to start with. All right, we're now going to do Filter, Blur, Motion Blur. And when you do motion blur, you can change what I would call the strength of it by using this slider. And you can see when it's at 1, not much changes. As you go up, it becomes more of a blur. And I think in a case with an image like this, a higher number is a good number. You can change the angle of the blur by just rotating this little line on a circle. I happen to like 0, so I'm going to leave it there, and I'm going to do OK. Once this is done, we want to go to Select, Deselect. And here we have our changed reflective planet image. I probably would take this image and still do a little more cropping to it. I'd come up off the bottom like this. The sides are okay. The top is okay. And then when you're ready with your crop, you double click inside to enable the crop to be completed. So that's it. Here is another example of an image that we're going to use for our reflective planet image. This was taken at Boyd Park in New Brunswick. So our first step is to go to Image, Image Size. Make sure that the link is checked so that when you change one size, the other size changes. And we're going to pick 5,000 again and do OK. We're then going to right click on our background layer and do Duplicate Layer and just accept the default and do OK. Now we're going to click on our background layer and we're going to go Image, Canvas Size. We want to click on our left-hand arrow so the image grows to the right and type in 10,000 and do OK. Now the canvas is twice as big as it was before. We're going to go to Background Copy, do Edit, Transform, Flip Horizontal. We're going to make sure Background Copy is selected. Click on the Move tool. Click on the image and slide it to the right. Once it's completely over and there's no white showing, we're going to do Layer, Flatten Image. And then we're going to follow the steps of making a tiny planet. We go into Image, Image Size, uncheck this link, make the width 5,000, and make the height 5,000. Okay. Now we want to do Image, Image Rotation 180 degrees. Our next step, Filter, Distort, Polar Coordinates. Make sure Rectangular Polar is checked and do OK. And here we have our reflective planet. Now we're going to do View, Fit on Screen, and again, this is an image that could be cropped. I think it would be more dramatic that way. So let's crop it in some and see what we get. And there's enough sky here we should be able to make it look really cool. And we'll double click it to set the crop. Actually, I think I'm going to move it just a little. Okay. Double click it to set the crop. Do view, fit on screen. And you can make changes to this. Some of the things you might want to do is do image rotation, 90 degrees clockwise. You might find that you like that better. And you can continue to rotate it until you find the right perspective for you. But I think this is a very cool process. So that ends our tutorial on the reflective planet. Please provide feedback to this video so that I can make things better and easier in the future. Thank you.